Who has a 100-word summary of all the trouble you guys got into? I seem to remember you guys doing terrible things to my poor innocent kobolds who never hurt anyone.
I mean, it started with a cat.
Yeah, as most things do.
Then they walled us in. And then
that was hilarious.
Wendy soloed everything up to about here. And then fell.
And then made everything else fall. So we were able to get to it.
She got her revenge.
I do like
Gravity
how
is
throughout this encounter we consistently use basically the entire height of this shaft the whole time. That was pretty good.
This combat was pretty fucky, let me tell you.
So there were... Oh, I need to open another text file here. Is it my scratch file? Did I save it? I never saved my scratch file. I didn't get to ever attack anybody with a cave bee swarm. So
you didn't.
We'll put those back in the box.
We put the kibosh
Is it
on
a box of bees?
That'd be a terrible box. Just open a box and randomly you get bees.
I don't know. That's a self-actualized box. That's a
I'm
box
sure
that
that's a
knows what it
D&D
is.
item. There's no way that's not an item in D&D. Box of bees.
Well,
I mean,
Oprah did it in real life.
There's
so
a
it's gotta
rat
be in
hat.
D&D.
Was this before or after Tom Cruise zapped her with Force Lightning?
During.
Okay. Okay, I have a tag here in my text file that says do this stuff immediately.
Okay.
Because we ended last session with a variety of stuff that I said I was going to describe, but you weren't allowed to ask any questions or do anything about it.
Immediately, as I recall.
Yeah.
Look at this corner of this image that I forgot to erase, and then somebody made it say FUD.
Yeah, I did. I'm proud. I'm very happy.
All right. So here's the list of things that you were not allowed to ask questions about or do anything with last session because it was too late.
Okay.
In this room here... No, I'm sorry. In this room here, room number 10, which was a barracks area, there was a very hot iron door like you'd find on the front of a wood-burning stove. In this room here, in the center of the treasury, is a stone sarcophagus. At the top here is a pool and a piano. And you guys have a tied-up kobold trapsmith that Adrex was singing about killing. He's tied up because the other kobolds tied him up. And
oh, right. That's right.
handed him over. And last we heard, Adrex was singing about killing him.
It's true. He was.
What's good for the goose is good for the kobold.
There are effectively rope ladders that connect the whole area from 1 all the way up to this platform at 8 where the barracks are. There is no such easy climbing instrument that goes from 8 up to the top ledge at 11, though.
Like, we just retrieve our rope here and then just tie it up here, right? To tie it to one of these.
Fair enough.
I had a bunch of rope that got stolen by kobolds,
Yeah.
so I'm going to replace it with a rope ladder.
With a rope ladder?
Uh-huh.
How are you carrying this rope ladder?
Can I roll it all up?
You can, but it's going to still be enormously bulky because you figure even 20 feet of rope ladder rolled up. This is something you carry with 2 arms. This isn't just you don't just squeeze this in your backpack.
It's not like I figured it would be like twice as big because you got like both sides of the rope. But
it's quite because these ladders are ropes on either side.
Yeah,
with, like stepping rungs in between.
Oh, so it has like actual wooden rungs.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I think... Alright, so I'm not going to take this, but I think when we get back to civilization, we have to just make a more useful rope ladder. With like a rope in the middle rather than wood.
See, this is where the rope use proficiency would come in, but they haven't...
Why wouldn't we just use a knotted rope?
There's totally a used rope in 3rd edition. But
yeah, but not in 5th edition.
We should ask... This was a xylophone.
Mm-hmm.
We should ask the trapsmith about that. Ask him about the various things and see if he knows of any traps.
The Trapsmith has never been up to this top... Well, first of all, let's clarify this. This Trapsmith is 100% convinced that you're going to slaughter him. Because the other kobolds tied him up. They made the same deal with you that the Despot tried to make with you, that they're going to give one of their own over to you to kill so the rest of them could go free. And then you took that deal, and then Adrex was singing a song about how one will die.
Well, I'll talk to him and tell him that I'll speak on his behalf if he gives me some of those kick-ass bombs they had.
So you're going to let him believe that everybody's going to kill him for personal gain.
It's Birdie, though.
I'm just clarifying that that's what Birdie wants to do.
Like, no.
What do you feed a cat?
Birds?
Yeah, that's Wendy's response. I don't know, birds.
Just meat in general.
Can you prepare birds, or do they need to be seasoned a certain way?
You don't have to. I never did.
Like, listen, no, you just feed them. You just feed them like meat, small rodents, game, basically anything a snake would eat, a cat will eat.
So like kobold food.
Right. We used to raise cats as livestock in the swamps.
Kobolds being immune to toxoplasmosis.
Is that why they're immune to empathy?
Before you try to get anything out of this kobold, somebody's going to have to do something to reassure him that he's not about to die. It's one thing to die in battle defending his home turf. It's another to just be given over to slaughter. Keep in mind, this guy has taken part in that sort of slaughter on the other end of it and taken great joy in it, in debasing and humiliating and torturing the prey before killing it. And he thinks that's what's about to happen to him.
Like I said, Raazu, I don't think Raazu is the proper candidate to do this. The scary hobgoblin lady with the icy trident and the whip made out of snakeskin. Yeah, no.
Adrex can't even attempt this because
I'll do it because he's my kobold.
He's your kobold.
I won him.
You won him fair and square.
Uh-huh.
That's fair.
That's going to be Wendy's argument. It's like, look, listen, I won you in battle. I'm willing to trade you back yourself in exchange for you telling us about what's going on in this tower.
Also asking for some of those kick-ass bombs.
I think those were just insects. Are Sturges
insect
insects?
bombs? No, never mind. We don't want any of the insect bombs.
Yeah, no, we don't want any of that.
Grenades.
Sturges might be mammals. I'm not actually sure.
No, they had bombs that exploded into like shrapnel.
Oh yeah, and they also had the bombs that paralyzed you and ran electricity through you.
Okay, yes, some of those, not the insect ones. That's the deal.
He tells you that the man that was in charge of making those instruments died during the fighting. He was one of the ones that you killed.
Oh, damn it.
Do
you know if he kept any spares? Where did he work?
He does not. In other words, you guys aren't getting your hands on any of these shrapnel bombs.
What do you know about the stuff going on in this treasury?
He knows that he's never stepped foot in that treasury on pain of death.
Alright, where have you stepped foot?
Basically 8 and below.
Besides the treasury?
Yeah.
Okay. What does the xylophone do?
One of you set off the xylophone trap, did you not?
Yes. Like, is that like its only purpose? Is this what I'm trying to figure out? Like, is it only
You're a kobold. Do you really have to ask that question?
Like, listen, just because what I would do is not like these kobolds are working for other people. Like, left to their own devices.
Fair.
Yeah.
He knows that the xylophone is trapped, but he's not the one who trapped it. So he doesn't know the details, but he imagines that the trap was a delightful example of kobold workmanship.
Do you know of any of the traps up above? I know you haven't been there, but have you heard anything about them?
He hasn't. Only the Urds were allowed to climb to the top of the tower.
Alright, so what do you know that's useful?
Nothing. He doesn't
Work
have,
with me here.
He doesn't have anything that you don't already know.
Oh, God. Make something up.
You tell him to make something up?
Yeah.
And his eyes get real wide and he shuffles his feet. He's still tied up at this point, right?
Uh-huh.
And he stammers out something about a giant pile of golds in a place that there's a tunnel that only kobolds could get into, and it was in the back of one of the rooms, and that he'd be super happy to go get it for you, but you have to untie him.
Like,
Oh, absolutely. We would love for you to go do that for us. Thank you so much for this information. And I will untie him.
And as soon as you untie him, he darts out the front hallway.
Well, we'll
Thank
just
you.
wait for him
Thank
to
you,
get back
Wendy.
with our gold then. Alright, what's going on over here?
Thank you, Wendy.
I'm super bummed we didn't get any of the shrapnel bombs.
There's plenty of shrapnel. You could gather some up and build your own.
Birdie, would a shrapnel bomb really mean as much if you found it rather than made your own?
Yeah, it would.
On the contrary, I think it would mean more because it's something he could make and maybe proud of on his own merits.
And it would be better if I found one, because that would mean I wouldn't have to waste time making it. I get all the benefit with none of the work.
Birdie, I'm shocked that you
Raazu
described
mutters
making
under
a
her breath.
shrapnel bomb as a waste of time.
Rather mutters under her breath and Hobgoblin, stupid fucking kobold.
Kobolds
say
are the
something
best
nice.
worse.
So, I feel like three's no good. Nothing important's going on there. Let's check out this sarcophagus. Let's work our way up.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
At one point, there might have been markings or glyphs on the stone, but it's very weathered and very old. Looking at it, it's entirely possible that this is the oldest thing in the complex.
So there's two chests in here?
You've already,
We've already-
yes, but you already looted.
We've already looted
We've already
that.
looted
looted
everything
the
except the
chest.
sarcophagus.
Alright, cool.
Have we checked the sarcophagus for traps?
I don't
Nobody's
know.
done
I was
anything
just
with
about to ask. I was about to ask
Then
that.
I think Red will start by searching the sarcophagus for traps.
Can I assist?
I'm gonna say no, but you can make an individual roll. You can't
That'll
really
work.
help him look for traps.
My consulting buddy. I only got a 12, so.
So Birdie, roll better than that.
I did not.
No,
At
Uh-uh.
all?
I
No
got
traps.
it's just
that's an 8.
a long closed stone lid that would take some
Mhm.
work to get loose and pull off, but other than that, looks pretty normal. You don't see any fractures in the stone. You don't see any place where the stone meets the dais in the floor that you could put a trap. It's difficult to say without opening it up.
Okay, Adrex, you get at the base at the foot end, and Birdie and I will lift the top of the sarcophagus with crowbars and then slide it off, and you keep it from shattering on the floor.
Got it.
And we do that.
Okay. Where is everybody positioned in this room when this is happening?
I guess
There
we
it
can do that.
is.
With a crowbar.
There it is.
Where are our icons? There they are.
Where are our
So-
icons? Did you find them?
You
They were over in
you must
the
have
room
loaded
with the
it-
cat.
Oh,
Or
You
not
gotcha.
must
cat
have
room.
loaded it from the.
So yeah, I
From
figure
your-
if Birdie and I are each on one corner on one side, and Adrex is on the back on the other side, we can slide this thing open, and then it won't shatter on the lid on the floor.
I'm supervising
It's the other way.
So
with my supervision.
Over here, Birdie.
Nodal, go to jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're the only D&D group who, when the DM asks where everyone is, we all move ourselves as close as possible to the offending object.
A lesson I learned running Curse of Strahd for my other group is because sometimes I'll ask that question just to mess with people. Just to keep
Yeah.
them
That's a good
guessing.
idea. I like that.
But
No,
they
it's
always
perfect.
spent 20 minutes figuring out where they were standing.
Yeah.
So anytime
Oh,
I
no,
did it
we-
just to mess with them, they just wasted 20 minutes.
Well, no, see, we know we're on camera, so we have to be punchy about it as best we can.
Oh, I just have no self-regard.
I mean,
You're
you've
still
seen
playing
what
Mahogany.
happens if Red gets dominated or charmed, or if my characters get dominated or charmed.
I mean, you've seen what Adrex does when he's been charmed.
So
Hey, one of your characters tried to get flushed at an airlock. That happened.
after a few moments, you get the crowbars under this lid, and it takes some elbow grease, takes some work to get under there. But yeah, you manage to crack the lid, and it begins sliding in Adrix's direction.
So
Sure would suck if there's a lich in here.
You know,
I was just about to say mummy, but that's even worse. Yeah.
let that.
I'm sorry, did you
Slide
say a
hit
mummy is worse than a lich?
No, I said a lich would be. I said no, but a lich is worse.
Okay.
There's nothing stopping you from applying 2 templates to a creature.
That's true.
A lich is just a mummy with spells.
No.
Okay.
I feel like Nodal needs to be schooled here.
It's just the same thing. Same
Nodal never went through the Tomb of Horrors, so yeah.
What's the status of this door, Wendy? You guys have that?
I think
That
we'd
door
have it
was
open.
trapped,
I
right?
think it'd probably be open.
It was
We
trapped and it was spring. They had springs that made it close after it had been open for a few seconds.
And did we need to disarm that trap? Did we need to keep the door open or anything?
No, I can say you just disarm the trap, so it's not going to fall anymore. But I'm asking
Yeah.
whether you've kept the door open or closed.
I would
I-
keep it open.
Okay. Wendy, I need a dexterity saving throw.
Uh-oh.
You have +4 to this.
That's why I'm standing near Raazu. Definitely wasn't intentional. Whoops.
Oopsie
Let's,
doo.
You still have evasion.
I still have evasion, that's true. But
Did
I
you
think
actually? You don't have any hit points though, do you?
No, but I think I did get my monk ability last time. I'm just checking that really quick, I'm sorry.
Seems like the kind of information that should be on your character sheet.
It is on my character sheet. I just haven't had to check it enough times to know where it is instantly.
See, this is the benefit of actually having to write your own character sheet, because when you write out an ability like this in full and what it does, you don't forget you have it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's true. It's very
Also,
true.
I super don't. So I think I'm going to... fuck it. That's a 14.
You rolled
Right.
a 14 on a dex save?
Well, I'm right next to Raazu.
So, wait, is this your one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my one.
Oh, okay. Adrix and Wendy. Adrix, where's your sword? Because you're using both hands to pull this sarcophagus.
I'm assuming someone else has a light source, so
Well, right now the light sources are your sword, and Wendy's got the blue torch.
Yeah,
Yeah, if
messing
you want a
with
better
right
light,
now.
I can crack a regular torch.
yeah, please.
Okay,
'Cause
we'll say
need
that I have a
both
regular
hands for
torch.
this.
Okay. So,
Here, I got
Adrix,
that. I'm
where's
on
your
that.
sword at? I mean, you just lay it on the floor next to you? Did you douse it and sheath it? What's up?
Douse it and sheath it.
Okay. Wendy.
Yeah.
There is a flurry of activity in your hand as this torch wrenches from your grip, and you hear it clatter against the stone sarcophagus as the light of it snuffed out, plunging the room into darkness. At the same time, you feel this very powerful, suction towards the center of the room as the doors come crashing shut behind you. You're knocked prone on the
Jesus.
ground. What's next?
I'm gonna try to crack the dim light torch to see if it's like some kind of magical thing.
So you take out the dim light torch to turn it on,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to describe your sensation first, because this will be funnier. You crack the dim light torch, and then you feel that same wrenching sensation, that vacuum feeling, as your arm juts forward and the torch leaves your hands and clatters against the sarcophagus.
Well,
In the very brief moment of illumination, before the blue light torch snuffs out, the rest of you see this face kind of hanging in midair over like the 1-inch gap that they've opened in the sarcophagus so far, looming over Red and Birdie, that's just made out of what looks like dust or filaments. And you only see it for the split second before the room is again plunged into darkness.
Raazu calls out, "Hello?"
And you all begin to feel the movement of air in the room. Not like wind blowing, but like the air is being pulled down into the sarcophagus.
And what's the status of people with dark vision right now?
You can see as though in dim light, but you cannot make out this face that's hanging in the air anymore. You were only able to see it in the moment when the dim light torch was lit, but then it left Wendy's hand, clattered against the sarcophagus, and got snuffed out.
And if I look inside the sarcophagus itself?
You're not sure how deep it is,
Mm-hmm.
but you see the bottom of the sarcophagus is coated in dust or sand or some kind of fine granulation. It's a good.
And
word.
there's air coming into there?
It feels like there's the air in the room is moving into the sarcophagus.
Mm-hmm. Is that disturbing the dust or sand or whatever?
It doesn't seem to be.
Okay.
Put the lid back.
Raazu instructs you guys to put the lid back.
I mean, what are we going to do after that, Raazu?
I'm going to test the door.
Test the door?
Yeah.
Nobody's hurt, right?
Windy. Well, how are you testing the door? What are you actually doing?
I'm going to try to open it.
How?
How does it open? Inward or outward?
I mean, it would push outward, out into the hallway,
Okay.
but I mean, are you grabbing the handle and pushing it, or are you just throwing your shoulder?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No,
When
no,
you
I
reach for
grab
the handle, instead of feeling the metal of the handle, you feel like your hand overlaps on top of another hand that's holding the handle in place. And it feels metallic. It feels very cold.
If I blast out some air, is there anything I can actually see?
No.
Put the lid
Guys,
back.
there's some kind of ghost shit holding this door shut.
Hey, Birdie, do you have any idea what the sand is? Is it magic?
Birdie will climb over the edge and he'll poke the sand.
With what?
My fingers.
With your finger? It feels very abrasive. Make an intelligence tinker tools check. DC's only 10.
I passed that.
Because, yeah, in your dark vision, you can't tell any coloration, because everything is just shades of gray. But feeling it in your hand, you realize these are tiny flakes of rust that have been layered here. It's not sand or dust at all. Like if you take a file to a rusty object to file the rust off of it, the little flakes that accumulate, it's like somebody has filled the bottom of the sarcophagus with this stuff.
Okay, I'll take my dagger out and then try to, because I don't want to stick, because I don't know what's down there, but I'll take just my regular, it's just a regular steel dagger, and then try to scrape away, kind of move it to the side to see how deep it is.
Okay. In the silence of the room, it's suddenly broken by a very loud crackling sound that sounds like somebody just stepped out onto a thin sheet of ice. And as soon as you poke your dagger down into this rust, you realize it's being held fast. You can no longer push it deeper, and you also can't pull it back out.
That was my favorite knife.
Do we?
Guys, I don't want to
we-
concern you, but this door is held shut, which means there's no more of the essential element of air entering the room.
There's a lot
And
of
remember when you
exiting
guys got
room.
really woozy at the top of that mountain?
That's why I said.
Does your cloak make more air?
I think it just moves air.
Huh.
Close the door. Close the sarcophagus now.
I mean, I don't think we're in any immediate danger, and we're just going to be in the same situation in an hour if we decide to open it again. Is there any indication on the sarcophagus in terms of, like, anyone who would have made it? Like, do we think this is Yuan-ti or Kobold, or we don't know?
All you can tell is that there were at one point readable markings or glyphs on it, but they've been long worn away by time. They're indecipherable now.
All right. So there's like this metal hand holding this door shut, and I'm not a huge fan of ghosts, guys. But I do know one thing that ghosts don't love, and that's being punched. I'm gonna punch this ghost.
I still remember you making friends with a ghost.
That
I think I made
ghost
friends
was
with
a
the
sh-
ghost.
That was a ship. That's a very different thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you doing exactly?
I'm just going, like, I'm going to feel out for where this metal hand is, and then I'm just going to strike at it as though it was, like, an enemy.
So you're just gonna slap it and go, no, stop that?
So yeah,
Basically.
you basically punch the handle of this door.
Yeah.
And you just feel the impact.
Huh. So, like, it feels like I just, like, punch through whatever resistance I felt before, but then when I, like, feel over there again, it's still there.
It's still there, and as you trace it down the fingers, it kind of ends past where the wrist of this hand might be. It's not tangible beyond that point.
Well, where's the rest of it? Guys, is there, like a no-wristed, no-handed skeleton inside this thing? When you'll just kind of reach over?
It's full of rust flakes.
What kind of handle does this door have, Brick?
Just the kind that you put your hands on and then push the door open. But typically, like for a kobold, it would probably take two of them pushing on either side of the door.
Is it like something where if we had like a metal bar, we could stick it through to keep the door shut? Or is it like a knob sort of thing?
No, it's not a knob. It's just an extraordinarily heavy door. The only strangeness about this door, same thing about the ones that you entered through, is there is some kind of contraption that requires both doors to open simultaneously. If you push one side, the other side will also open.
Okay.
So it does take some decent strength to push this door open.
Okay.
And then on the inside of the door, on your side of the door, probably laid off to the side, was this big scythe blade that was on the other side that chopped Birdie's arm off. That was fun.
How much force did the torch being pulled from my hand have?
It didn't feel like if you held fast to it,
Yeah.
you might have been able to hold on to it. It was more surprising than anything.
All right. I'm going to head over to the wall.
Which wall?
This wall.
Okay.
And I'm going to take a couple minutes and stick two pythons in the wall in like a cross shape.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take the dim light torch, stick it in there so that it's held fast to the wall, and then light it.
Okay. And now the most prominent thing in the room is just the sound, this aggressive rattling sound of this torch trying to move as it's wedged into this cross shape. And gives off 20 feet of dim light.
Mm-hmm.
What is... When you can't see. Raazu, Birdie, and Red, what are your passive perceptions? -5.
11. 6.
My passive perception is 22.
21.
Okay. Okay. In the dim light of the back of the room, and it's this shuddering light because this torch is rattling crazily. You see, because Adrex, you're still holding on to the stone sarcophagus, right?
Mm-hmm.
You catch this shadowy image of a hand, barely visible in this dim light, and it's reaching towards Adrex's belt. And its finger and its thumb seem to have very gingerly pinched the hilts of his sword and is slowly lifting it out of his scabbard.
Adrex is trying to lift your weapon.
At that, Adrex lets go of the sarcophagus and puts a hand on his hilt.
Okay? And the hilt's not where you expect it to be, so you grab the blade instead and cut yourself. That was silly. But yeah, no, something's pulling your sword, or your Famor, out of its sheath.
No, I don't think so.
It's a handsy ghost.
Grab the hilt, and for a moment you feel this force trying to wrench it free. Those of you on the other side of the sarcophagus, actually Adrex now too is aware of this. You see the hands let go of the sword. And then there's the sound of like sand falling down a surface as the two climbing spikes that Wendy's nailed into the wall to hold this torch basically vaporize. And Wendy, a shower of rust flakes hits your back and wings. The torch comes free from the wall, bounces off Adrex's head, clatters into the sarcophagus, and goes dark again.
Ah!
You're getting good at that.
Thanks, man. That was a series of Aarakocra cusses.
Okay.
So I'm very concerned about this.
Hey, we should close this.
Is the sarcophagus still open?
Only a couple of inches, just wide enough for Birdie to have poked his dagger down through, which is still stuck right
Okay.
now.
Well, I mean, if Adrex thinks we should close it,
Well, hold up. I mean, how exactly is this thing working? Like, is this something that we could get rid of? Raazu, you're like a paladin of your god, right? Very forceful about it?
Yeah.
Can you, like, dispel this evil foe? Maybe hit it with some holy water, which I guess would just be seawater?
Divine Sense.
Divine Sense.
Yep. Any celestial feet or undead within 60 feet, not behind total cover.
You definitely feel an undead presence in this room.
I got nothing against it.
Everywhere in this room. It feels very strange, though, having fought undead creatures before. This has a different feel to it. You can't really pinpoint how or why.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's give it a whirl. Let's use my other channel divinity feature I have. Turn the Faithless. As an action, present holy symbol. Shit, I don't have a holy symbol.
Use the trident.
Best paladin ever.
Yeah. Well,
Trident's holy as shit, right?
no, I don't. Sure, I'll brandish the trident forcefully
Okay.
and speak invectives against this thing in Ostram's name. And if it's a Fey or Fiend, please make a Wisdom saving throw, DC 16.
So we've never established this trident as a holy symbol, but you're trying to
No, we have
wield
not.
it as one.
Yeah.
what's Osprey's holy symbol?
A
It is a
barracuda.
Well, we can't just carry a barracuda around. Osprey's gonna have to take what she can get.
So I want you to think very hard, McDohl. Is there anything on your character sheet that should totally be on your character sheet that you might invoke at a time like this?
We've tried to bring a barracuda around, but it always ends up just getting cooked for dinner. Thanks, Wendy.
Birdie has eaten Osprey every day for weeks and weeks and weeks. So no, brandishing your trident as a holy symbol, sight unseen, does not work. It's a weapon.
Okay. How about my charlatan die?
Your charlatan die, also definitely not a holy symbol.
Yeah.
Can we carve one? Like, what if we wait? Well, hold up, because the room you're saying the room itself is undead, right?
There's an
bet it
undead
really
presence
wouldn't
in the room.
I bet it super wouldn't like if I carved a barracuda into the stone wall, and then you did your dark work on it. Your neutral work.
Adrex's concentration now is keeping him in his sheath. His Feymort in his sheath.
I'll take out one of the Kobold bone daggers,
Okay.
and I'll stab that into the sand. Does it have the same effect?
All right. Roll initiative.
Hell yeah!
Okay.
My next suggestion was we take the fire jet and point it into the things and just light it
Of
up.
course it rolls to the lower number. Of course it does. Of course.
Is that damage?
That's just me taking my dice.
Did we get exposed to the black?
Yeah.
Great reference. I enjoyed that.
Well,
we
kind
get rid
of
of-
are-ish.
Raazu is learning the horrible truth that if she manages to convince Wendy that her god is real, that means Wendy's going to start trying to use it in useful situations.
So, like, is the holy symbol of Osram a live barracuda or just a picture of a barracuda?
No,
That's how symbols
Sure.
work. It's always the literal thing.
Because I feel like this is important.
Wow. Like, you know how the Catholics walk around with like an actual dead guy
Yeah.
on a necklace dangling from their head?
Yeah,
Like,
that makes sense.
It's very important that it be the actual dead guy.
All I'm going to
No,
say is, when you get to Moby Dick in high school English and you have to talk about the symbolism, the teacher has to prepare for months to get all that whale in there.
In fact, you have to have the class inside the whale.
I do
No,
like the
Bible.
idea, though,
Treble,
that
it doesn't have to be an actual barracuda. Iconography of a barracuda is more typical.
Would an actual barracuda work?
I mean, I don't see why not.
You guys are so bad at religion.
It should, right?
Like if you had a fish tank with a barracuda in it.
Is this
I
your,
mean, I guess my point of the question is, if you go back in time and get an actual Roman crucifix, does that work?
is this your 27, Birdie?
Yes.
All right, so
God,
that is
fucking.
standing next to you. And Red, for a moment, you feel the same thing that Birdie felt. There's this sound of like crackling ice, and the dagger is stuck fast.
Okay.
However, a moment later, there's no dagger anymore. Your hand suddenly wrenches backwards, and you're just holding this empty hilt. The actual blade of it is no longer there. And then you hear this vicious and violent banging from inside the sarcophagus, as flakes of rust come shooting out of the small opening, and screaming in agony, this very hollowed, metallic scream. And it's Birdie's turn. Well, you can't be surprised, right?
Right.
Then yeah, Birdie's turn.
Well, I'm just going to... So there's like just a cloud of rust right here? Like swirling out? Is that what you're
Not
saying?
swirling out. There's motion and banging and movement inside the sarcophagus, and it's disturbing the layers of rust, causing it to kick up a cloud from the little opening you guys, the 1-inch wide opening or so you have here.
Well, I'm starting to wish that I had brought the fire jet with us, but I did not. So I'm just going to shoot one of the dragon bone arrows down in there.
Okay.
Is red close enough to where I get my sneak attack?
I mean, just to be clear, you're just aiming point blank down into the 1-inch.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll the hit.
Okay, let's see. Do I get my pack tactics?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
This is starting to sound like Burkhardt is not going to have this do damage. He sounds very welcoming.
All right, so that's a That's a 29 to hit.
29, and you shoot the arrow, and you hear this loud thunk as the arrow hits this layer of rust and gets buried partway up to the fletching. And then there's this disturbing crackling sound as the arrow is just pulled down into it. You no longer see it. Moving or staying put?
Just go next to the chest.
Okay.
There's no escape.
All right, so Wendy is surprised. Wendy can be surprised, yes?
Yeah, Wendy can be surprised.
Okay, what's the range on this?
I appreciate you asking me just to make sure, but
I mean, there's a lot of like combat mechanics that don't make any sense after like 5th level. Like there's all these rules for like diseases and poisons, but every class is completely immune to everything. So
It's true.
I got so mad when I gave my other party a Whip of Warning at level 2.
what does that do?
It prevents anyone near it from being surprised.
I kind of like having one person immune to surprise, especially if it's like the cowardly kobold.
That's what I did in the next campaign when a weapon of warning came up again. I said it only works on the person holding it.
Okay, so I'm going to need 2 separate saving throws.
Yeah.
I need Adrex, Windy, Red to make a dexterity saving throw. You can make this at advantage.
Where's
Who's
Raazu?
next to me? +4.
What's the range on that?
10 feet.
10 feet.
Okay. Yes.
Everyone except Adrex, it looks like. Oh, and Birdie.
I guess I have multiple advantage if this is a spell, but it doesn't matter. So that comes out to
Not a spell.
25.
25? We're looking for
20.
a 16.
Yeah, 24 here.
Adrex?
20.
20, okay.
Yes, so
Wow.
go ahead and grid myself.
So 9 points of slashing damage, which you can all cut down to by half, so you can cut down to 4. Now I need everybody in the room to make a second dexterity saving throw. Do not make this one at advantage.
Is this against magic or spell?
It is not.
It's 23.
Still DC 16.
31.
Pass.
21.
Nope.
Okay, go ahead and take 19 points of bludgeoning damage, which you can cut in half if you pass the save.
Ow.
What happens is the motion and banging inside the sarcophagus essentially causes it to burst, sending stone shrapnel and clouds of rust in all directions. These 2 great... You're not sure what they are at first. Just come whipping out, whipping at the air around you. That was the first hit that the 3 of you took closest to the sarcophagus. And the force of this caused the stone of the sarcophagus to blast apart, hitting the rest of you. There are no light sources in the room at the moment. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Those of you with dark vision can see this sickly, gangly humanoid form stooped with its head kind of bowed forward inside of the layers of rust in what used to be the sarcophagus. And you hear this echoey clanging sound as it looks like what's happening is more and more of the rust in the bottom are congealing and clapping onto this thing's form. Right now it's just got up partway up its leg, so it looks like it's wearing these big heavy plate boots. Instead of arms, it has these 2 coils of chain that lashed out at you. Raazu is surprised. Adrex is surprised. And Red is surprised. That brings us back to Birdie. Birdie, you are far enough away that these whips were not able to reach you, but not so far that the shrapnel from the sarcophagus didn't
Okay.
get up to you.
All right. So, I mean, the only answer I see is violence.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to attack him.
Okay.
That's
also.
often the case.
And I'm going to use just a normal arrow.
Okay. What's the status of your bow?
The status of my bow?
Do you have the +1 bowstring?
Yes.
Okay, now
I do.
recall this +1 bowstring, firing from a magical bow, the ammunition is magical until it hits its target.
Right.
Okay.
Like I said, that's why I'm switching to normal arrows.
Okay.
The reason I used the Dragonbone arrow before was because we got a reaction of the Dragonbone dagger. So, let's see, that is a 28 to hit.
28 to hit?
Assuming that I'm getting my pack tactics.
Can we put this thing on the grid?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'm just assuming he's either here or here.
He's in the center of the sarcophagus, basically. Yeah, you can apply that.
Okay. Well, it's 28.
28 to hit.
Yep. Alright, so... That would be 29 magical piercing.
Okay. And this thing recoils from the hit of this arrow as it hits him in the side. As his groin and waist area, the rust starts congealing into metal plates that snap into place. And the arrow hits him, and then you watch as it gets sucked into his form. Just like the previous one had. Windy. Wow, there's a big gap here. I could fill this up with so many types of kobolds.
All right.
If it makes you feel better, you can put them on there and we can just pretend like they're off having a tea party.
Kobolds don't have tea parties. I feel like you don't know much about kobolds.
That's a lie. Kobolds throw the best tea parties. I feel like that's slander.
Windy, you're
I'm
up.
going to take a couple whip strikes at him.
Okay.
That's a 27 to hit.
27 does hit.
4. Oops, that's the wrong one. 8 magical slashing.
Okay.
If it matters, it's the whip made out of bone.
What matters is I'm trying to recall, does the weapon you use become a magical weapon, or does it just deal magical damage?
That is an excellent question.
I'm going to go in the tunnel, and we're going to find out.
I feel like that's a question that the 5e rules have no concern over.
Oh, it'll be worded very specifically, don't worry.
It might not be in the book, though, because it's a Kensei feature.
Oh,
Did Kensei ever make it into a book?
yeah, Xanathar's.
Oh, okay.
Which I have in the tunnel.
Wait, he has a beholder in the tunnel?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's a scary-ass tunnel.
I mean, I guess you don't have to worry about any sort of magical traps.
I honestly should have looked this up before I designed this encounter.
Page 34.
34? It's not a real number. Okay, let's see here.
One with the blade.
Count as magical for purposes of overcoming resistance and immunity. See, that's the exact wording I was looking for. The whip is not magical.
It
And
just counts as magical.
It doesn't deal magical damage. It counts as magical damage for purposes of overcoming resistance and immunity.
Mhm.
So yes, go ahead and apply damage with your whip.
Alright. Alright, it was this 4, so,
I'm sure if given enough time, I could think of a very important scenario where that distinction between magical damage and counts as magical damage would be useful.
yeah.
That sounds like an encounter for next week.
Maybe if you're in a anti-magic zone, that's 8 magical slashing.
Okay. I feel like it would depend on the source of the anti-magic. Like,
Yeah.
or I'm not sorry, the source of the target's magical resistance.
Yeah.
If it's, we don't need to get into it right now, but I'll think
Tricky.
of a way to screw you with it. But yeah, you whip out and crack this thing, and you send flakes of rust flying out in the other direction. They get swept up into this kind of light breeze that's still sucking down towards the sarcophagus. And moving or
Alright.
staying put.
Wait, that was my first attack. Second attack is another 9 magical slashing.
Okay.
I rolled them at the same time, but I applied damage once at a time because I wasn't sure if you were going to take my whip from me. And then I'm going to use my bonus action to use my Kensei feature to add +3 to my whip's attack and damage.
It would be real messed up if your fists counted as magical weapons for this purpose. So how much extra damage?
Another 9 after the first one.
Okay.
And that is also the reason why I used my bonus action after, is because I wasn't sure if I was going to buff my whip and then have my whip taken from me.
Yeah, you do. You send out 2 slashes with this whip.
Alright. And that's
And
it.
at this point, up to his chest and up his back, these metal plates have begun adhering. Moving or staying put?
Staying put.
Okay. I think we will start with we'll start by recharging his ability. Alright, bonus action. Or Windy, are you billowing?
I'm near it.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's got a weapon. I guess the chains count as a weapon. Looking at a 25 to hit.
Yeah, I'll hit.
Windy.
Yeah.
Maximum damage. Woo! 6
Uh-oh.
points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
As
I'm
you
fine.
are suddenly shoved with great force and go crashing against the door, 5 feet away from it.
I'm still near it, though, because I still got a whip. Eat that, fucker.
If a
Let's get a dexterity saving throw from everybody but Birdie.
Alrighty.
Wendy and Red have bonus to this.
18.
19.
16.
20.
It's going to be 20 points of bludgeoning damage, which you can cut in half if you pass the save. And once again,
Jeez.
this thing snaps out its arms, for lack of a better term, and whips its chains around violently, slashing at all of you. And at this point, the rust has formed a neck plate and the bottoms of what looks like a full tin pot helmet. It's going to bring us to Raazu.
Alright, I'm going to close. Actually, yes, I'm going to close, but I am going to use the whip right here.
Okay.
And, yeah, so... that's only a 13 to hit.
13 does not hit.
Okay. How
At
about
this point, its plate armor is essentially complete.
Yeah. Could use some advantage, Red.
My turn hasn't come up yet.
I know. That's why I'm like, fuck.
Moving or staying put?
It's kind of
Same
surprising.
It's Red's turn. No, it's Adrex's turn now. Red, how'd you manage to came to round 6?
I rolled a 2.
Mm.
No, I rolled a 1. It's 6.
Adrex.
Alright, yeah, it's dark in this room, huh?
Yes, very dark.
Alright, let's swing wildly and hope I hit something. At disadvantage, right?
Yes.
Alright. I'm using my silvered sword. So, let's see.
2 20s.
That is a 13 to hit.
13 does not hit.
Second
No,
attack
13.
is a 26.
That'll hit.
That hits for 11 slashing damage. from his silvered sword. And third attack.
As you
Oop.
stab in with this silvered sword, you slice into the thing's plate. And the thing cries out. And at this point, its helmet is almost complete. The bottom of the helmet splits open, and it throws its head back in anguish. And you hear this cry. None of you speak. Does anybody speak Southling?
Yes, Red does.
Red. You hear a word from one of the old Dwarvish dialects that you've studied. And the thing is crying out a word. To everybody else, it just sounds like a generic cry, this echoey wail. Red, you're picking out the word poison as it's crying in pain and suffering.
For reference, I think Red should know that in basically every language on the planet, but okay.
Fair enough. Adrex, you've got 7 more attacks?
No, but thank you for reminding me. Please to be making a strength saving throw.
He's good at these.
Okay. That's unfortunate.
24.
Yeah, that makes it. He still takes another 7 damage.
Nice.
And third attack at disadvantage.
That's not nothing.
That is a 16 to hit.
16 does not hit.
Oh, bummer. You know what? I'm going to use
Yeah.
precision attack.
Okay.
So how about 18 to hit?
18 will hit.
18 will hit for another 13 damage.
Nice.
Okay. And you can hear the sound, Adrex, as you pull your sword back. The gashes that you slashed through this thing's armor as though it was cheesecloth. And the gashes remain there, and this rust, flakes of it begin pouring out onto the ground like blood. And there's a noticeable stoop in that direction. As you
I'll
grievously
stand.
wounded him.
I'm going to stick.
You mean he hears that?
Oh, yeah, he hears that. He's blind, too. Red, you're up.
Red will say, silver weapons. Let's go move to here, pull out a silver dagger, and stab the thing.
Okay.
Hit an armor class of 15.
15 does not hit.
Second dagger, offhand attack as a bonus action. Sorry, Raazu.
Sad
An armor
face.
class of 26.
26 will hit.
To be fair, Raazu, I think sneak attack does more than any one of our attacks.
It's true.
I don't know. Raazu
Not
put
when
on
I roll
a
like
power
that.
stink.
So that's 17 damage.
17?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the end of Red's turn.
I said one of our attacks, not one of our turns.
It's going to bring us to Birdie. And again, with the spot where you pull this dagger out from the thing's back, these rust flakes are just pouring out of the back of the wound. And it, again, wails in pain that it's been poisoned.
I'm going to shoot it again, but if you care, I got curious and looked up the rules for ammunition, and it's the same rules. It's worded the same as Wendy's weapon thing, Kinsey.
Yeah, but I like you less than Nodal, so.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fair. Nodal is so adorable. Okay, so...
Trouble, I've never
I am
slept in the
pretty
same
adorable.
bed with you.
Oh, that is a 21 to hit.
That'll hit.
That might make me sexier than I will ever be.
So that is 36 damage.
Okay, and yeah, the thing recoils from the pain. Moving or staying put?
I mean, I'm pretty much out of its reach over here, so I'm good. Thank you,
You think
for
you're
asking.
you think you're out of its reach?
Well, I'm as far away basically as I can get away from it.